Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 3 of our series on Bible translations. This is From the Ground Up, where we try to give you honest answers to your earnest questions. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dr. Brian Koning, and in this episode, we are addressing the big question: which translation should I read? Well, to get us started, let me introduce and bring in my amazing co-host, Dr. Debbie.
Thank you, and glad to be here, Brian. Before answering today's question directly, I want to give us a helpful guideline to bear in mind. It is best to draw from several translations when reading the Bible. Unless you know Biblical Hebrew or Biblical Greek, you will benefit from those slight differences in translation methodology or artistic choice that committees have by reading from multiple translation and organizational backgrounds. You're going to have a better picture of what the text actually means. How do you know how your specific translation is addressing the text? Well, you read the preface at the beginning of the Bible. Every version will have a preface that talks about its committee or their translation work. It's going to address how they've approached the text, their methodological or stylistic choices, as well as the ancient documents that their translation is built upon. We mentioned this last time, but it bears repeating. Try to read from a broad range of these, and you're going to find that it will benefit you greatly.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Debbie. We do want to have that kind of breadth in our reading of the Bible translations. Now, when it comes to which translations I read, it's going to come down on how I'm going to use that translation or that reading. If it's just for my personal devotions or in a small group setting, my two favorite translations are the Christian Standard Bible, the CSB, and the English Standard Version, or the ESV. If I'm looking for something that's maybe a bit more devotional, or if I'm looking for something artistic, I might read the New International Version, or NIV, or even what's not technically a translation, but a paraphrase known as the Message. These are great books to kind of be brought in a meditative or contemplative spirit. But importantly, I wouldn't, at least for the Message, use that in an academic sense. Speaking of which, if I was going to be using the Bible in some academic or rigorous manner, and I'm not going to either Hebrew or Greek, I would use something along the lines of the New American Standard Bible, or the NASB. This word-for-word translation is not as easy to read as the thought for thoughts like the CSB or the ESV, but it will help me better see what the underlying Hebrew or Greek looks like. The key point is, during my day-to-day activities, I will read from multiple versions or all of these versions in a single day. As Debbie said, I think that really helps us get a full appreciation for what the text is saying. So those are some of my favorite translations. Dr. Debbie, what do you like to read?
Interestingly enough, I grew up with the King James Version, so I have memorized a lot of those scriptures from when I was little. But today I really enjoy the New International Version because I use it more often. It helps to bridge the gap between some of my students who haven't really been introduced to the Bible, and it helps me to read it just so that I can know more of the language for today. It's a very good translation. Now, I also like to read the Message, and I like to read it for devotional use. But when I look at translations, and I do read broadly, I read more than the New International Version. When I look at Bibles and the Bibles that I like to read, they are all translated by committees. I tend to lean on those that have Bible committees where they can interact with each other and balance each other out when they're talking about translation. I find that when you work in community together for translation work, the work is more dynamic and you get a better perspective for that translation. And it keeps you in check too, so you're not going too far off with the minutia of translation work.
Excellent points, and I couldn't agree more, Debbie. Well, viewers, I hope this has been helpful for you, introducing Bible translations and walking through them. We want to encourage you to keep studying, keep asking questions, and keep building your faith from the ground up. See you next time.
Thanks. Bye.